Thank you. I have a question for Commissioner Cox.
Sure.
So,
Just speak right to him. Say hello to him. He's right here for you. Go ahead.
well, hello, Commissioner Cox. So, consider what happened to you and all that was done to cover up for those that did what they did to you. Does it weigh on your conscience that when you were deputy superintendent, you went so far to cover up for another?
Wait, whoa, hold on, James. Look, we're not going to get into specific, concerns, issues. If you have a specific or concern issue, go through Boston Police Department Human Resources. That's not. We're not interested in litigating.
The question being is that his past is...
I appreciate you taking the time to call. I appreciate the amount of time you waited on the line. But I don't think that the question that you're asking is one of such general application as what we're looking to do tonight. Appreciate you calling nonetheless. Let me go next to Bob in Weymouth. Bob, welcome. You're next on Nightside with Commissioner Michael Cox of the Boston Police Department.
It's a pleasure to be talking to the Commissioner. I'm a retired Boston Police Lieutenant. I retired in 2003. Also, I was active in the Patrolmen's Union. And,
wait a second, you retired this year, Bob? You said 2003?
No.
2003. Oh, you've enjoyed retirement for nearly 20 years. Good for you. Go right ahead.
You know something? I don't know the Commissioner when I was on, but I know he went through turmoil, but he had a good reputation. So people should know that. He's gone through a lot. The reason I'm calling is on the school police.
Sure.
When I was in East Boston, like for 10 years, we had a good, strong relationship with the school police officer. If you had any trouble, you always called the station. We ironed out things. We knew the principal, the assistant principal. Everything always worked good. There was no problem. But if an arrest had to be made, arrest was made.
Okay.
But also, my son's on the job. He's a patrol supervisor. He's been on 20 years. And I hate to say this, Commissioner.
What are you hating to say, Bob? We've lost it. Go ahead. Well, I think we lost it, Bob. If you want to call back and complete your thought, we'd appreciate it. Feel free to join the conversation.
Bob, thanks for your service.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Tom in Lancaster, Massachusetts. Tom, welcome. How are you, sir?
Hi, Dan. Good evening.
I know this caller, Commissioner, he's a former New York City police officer who was seeing the light and retires in Massachusetts. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank God I did that. But Commissioner, good evening, and I'm happy to see that you're in that position because you sound like a very qualified person for the position. There's nothing better than taking someone that came up through the ranks, in my opinion.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it.
I work over in Boston, and I don't want to mention the location where I work. Dan has figured it out, though. It's in a busy business area, and it's a major retailer that I work at. And while I'm there, I take the time out during the day to monitor the Boston police via one of the scanner apps. And I can see that they have their hands full. And I can hear the transmissions all day over the radio begging people to work for overtime, which is pretty sad because I know that that's going to result in people being forced to stay after their shift, which is not a very productive thing. I just hope that, this lack of manpower, without, knowing much about the city of Boston governmentally, I hope it's not due to trying to save money through attrition is what they have been doing in New York City over the past several decades while I was there.
No, again, I can let the commissioner speak on that one. I think they're looking to hire people. Commissioner, want to respond to Tom's observation?
No, I appreciate that question, and I would say no. It's not a lack of trying here. We're doing all we can. The mayor's been gracious enough to actually fund these classes, including trying to fund this super class what we're trying to put together here in the springtime. So that's not been the issue. Some of the issues is just really trying to attract folks and I'll be honest, getting folks to stay. I mean, as people are eligible for retirement, they've earned that right to retire, and people are choosing to take us up on it, and they're doing it at a pretty good clip here. And so, we are faced with the challenge of how do you retain some of these folks and keep them from not leaving as fast, and how do we attract people, to the job. And it's not just anybody. We still need the right people on this job. And so, we're doing all we can to make that happen. And we're going to continue to do more. But it's not about saving money certainly at this point. It's really about, getting enough manpower to do all the things that we do. But that hits on another issue. It's like, do we do too much? Right? And that's something that we're probably going to address in the future as well.
Tom, appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Appreciate your service. Thank you.
One quick thing, if I can mention it. I know you mentioned the other things in the previous calls about, all the difficulty due to past controversy and whatnot. But I have to say that, I work on the one pay scale as a retired law enforcement on my job, but I have regular entry-level security guards with me that make much less money. And when I enlightened one of them one day about, the benefits and the salary of a potential law enforcement career in Boston, which was right after we got a visit from a transit police officer, she was quite amazed at, how much money she could possibly make by going into law enforcement. So if you guys could possibly reach out to the private security industry in Boston within all these retailers, I think they would be happy to jump ship and come on board with the Boston PD compared to what they're making as a guard.
All right, well, that's another recruiting prospective area for recruits. Tom, thanks for the ideas. Thanks for the suggestion. Thank you much.
Yep,
Talk soon. Thank you. I think this Bob back in Weymouth. Has he been returned, Bob? You were starting to say you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got disconnected, but that's okay.
Not on our end, Bob.
No, not yet. I think it was on my end.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I wanted to talk about is I was reading in the paper regarding they want school police or something similar to that.
Yes.
In the summer of 2021, they replaced all the police personnel.
That is correct.
And they put non-police personnel. Now they're having all kinds of trouble. But the most important thing here is I think Mayor Wu should go to Mary Skipper, the superintendent of Boston Public Schools, and ask her one question, Dan. Do you want Boston police in the schools or don't you? Because
we'll hopefully we'll have the superintendent on, Bob, some night. We talked about that with the commissioner, but I think that's probably the ultimate question. As the commissioner said, Mary Skipper runs the school department.
Yeah.
And he's there to advise and help and assist and aid in any way. But he's not going to tell her how to run her school department, okay?
Oh, no, what I'm trying to say is that you have different groups now that don't want the police and they do want them in. Well, let's ask Mary Skipper if she wants them in or not. And that she should be the key person. She says no.
I think you're right on that, Bob. And when I get her on some night, we'll ask her that question. Thanks. I got to roll here because I got other calls.
All right, Dan, thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob. Let me go next to John in Boston. John, you are next on Nightside. Go right ahead. You're on with Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Commissioner Cox. Commissioner Cox, I just appreciate the work that you do, and I just feel bad for the Boston police officers. I have some friends that are cops, and they'll arrest a guy who's got an illegal gun on him. They're risking their lives by doing so. Then the DA lets the guy out the next day. The next week, my same friends will arrest the guy again. He's got another illegal gun, and the DA lets the guy off. So we got some very bad problems in the court system with the DAs letting these criminals go. And I feel bad because my friends are endangering their lives by arresting these guys. Now we have open borders down south, and they're gang members coming directly to Massachusetts, endangering the lives of police officers. So it becomes, I think the mayor needs to understand, and because city councilors that are looking to blame cops and to go after their pay if something goes wrong. We got very dangerous people, MS-13 members coming here. And I know, Commissioner, you know all this. I'm just sticking up for my friends who are police officers. This is not right. It's demoralizing the police officers, and it's going to be very difficult to recruit officers, and the mayor needs to understand that, and those in power.
John,
when you're
let me
letting
just
criminals
interrupt if I can for a second. I think you're making a lot of good points. Commissioner, this does get to an issue that I know Larry Calderon has raised on our program, and that is the mental health and wellness of police officers. It has to be a difficult aspect of the job to make a good pinch, and then to find out that that defendant is back on the street 6 hours later. And I realize that there are policies that are set separate and apart from the department, but just what sort of an impact does that have on the mental health and wellness of the men and women who are doing this dangerous job?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, and it's very important in a sense that, the criminal justice system is changed, and we are in some ways in the midst of some reform, and some of it is absolutely deserved, and some of it is may have an impact on some unintended consequences. We have, certainly around some of the juveniles this past year have arrested several of them, 2 and 3 times with a firearm, and that's disheartening in the sense that they're back out and they're out there doing bad things again, and it's not really deterring people, and that's the discouraging part about that. But it's my job and all our command staff's job is actually to reinforce, remind officers what we signed up for. This has never been an easy job, and it's not easy right now. But the fact is that we're needed more now than ever before. And, I need to do all we can to make sure our officers are their wellness is paid attention to, that we're doing all we can to support them. And we're doing all we can to actually let people understand, what we're facing and what we're dealing with. And so the public can actually provide some support to it, some much needed support. So some of the, some of the impact on officer wellness has occurred over these last couple of years in general, but it can also be, fixed or addressed just by, the public actually giving some input that, officers' work is appreciated in general. They do a tremendous job day in and day out for the most part, and, just little things by just saying, we appreciate your work or saying hello to an officer has a long way of addressing some of those wellness issues you just talked about.
I was in San Francisco over the weekend visiting our daughter and her husband, and I bumped into a couple of San Francisco police officers, and just as I walked by, I said, just said hello and said simply like, stay safe, and they really seemed to appreciate that. I would, that I wouldn't just walk by them without acknowledging their presence, and something as simple as that, I think, could be done. John, thank you so much for your call. I got packed lines here.
I just want to say, I just think, though, they need to, it creates an atmosphere of disrespect when they let the criminal go there. And after
No, we talk about that a lot in the show, John. You know that,
I know.
Okay? We agree. I think the three of us...
PAs and the mayor's got to do more. I'm sorry. They can't let criminals go. It's going to demoralize.
All right, John, I got to run. Thank you much. We're going to take a very quick break. Back with the final segment with Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox here on Nightside. If you want to try to get in, feel free, 617-254-1030 or 617-931-1030. We got Matt, Ian, and Jason coming up on the other side.
Hi, Dan.
Very direct with their questions or comments. Matt in Charlton, Massachusetts. Matt, along with Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox. Go ahead, Matt.
Good evening. Hi, Commissioner. 2 quick questions. First, I believe your Department of Civil Service, to help you with your recruitment crisis, have you thought about possibly leaving civil service, therefore you wouldn't have to take laterals that are currently on a civil service list? And secondly, what are your thoughts on what happened with civil service this fall, not scoring the promotional exam across the state for police sergeant and police lieutenant? I'll hang up now, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner, if you want to give a quick answer to either or both of those questions. I know the second one might be one that is not on your radar screen.
Absolutely. The second one, I didn't know it applied to us. I thought it was firefighters. The first one is, yes, we've thought about everything, and we're still thinking about everything when it comes to recruitment.
Perfect. Let's keep rolling here. Going to go to, next up, Jason in Boston. Jason, next on Nice. Go right ahead.
Good evening, Commissioner. My question was about residency. My question is, I understand the city's trying to, hire officers from outside the city because you guys are so short-staffed. But what about the officers that are currently working, or why is the city firing officers for residency that are currently working for the department if they're, fighting
Well,
to
the
get
new
more?
officers that are going to come in, Jason, if I'm not mistaken, only get a 6-month waiver of that. So they eventually have to move into Boston.
Correct.
Okay, and what about even the officers, I'm saying the officers that are currently here, would they give them that same exception?
The officers that are currently here, after 10 years, they can move out.
Okay, after 10, okay. All right, so after 10 years.
All right, thanks for clarifying that, Jason. Appreciate it. Let me go to Ian in Marshfield. Ian, next on Nice Eye with Commissioner Michael Cox. Go ahead, Ian.
Good evening, and thank you for taking my call, Dan. And Commissioner Fox, I just wanted to comment on the residency. I'm a woman that grew up in the city. I worked for the Boston Public School System for 32 years. I moved because, quite frankly, I couldn't afford a house in Boston and send my kids to private school, so I moved to the suburbs. I do think that the city misses a great deal of talent outside the city by not.
But again, this is a policy question, and that I don't think that the commissioner can make much comment on this. This is a policy commission that's set by the city for the various departments. I just think, Commissioner, I don't know that this is really relevant to your situation.
Correct. I mean, it's what we have to deal with. Residency is a requirement for all city employees right now. So in a lot of ways. So.
Well, not in the school department. That's not true.
Well,
that
again,
is not true in the school department.
Ian, we're not here to debate it. It's just. He's not going to take a policy position. He's a police commissioner who's in charge of running the department as the policy is made by others. And I'm not going to quibble with you on this one. I got to move to other callers. Thank you very much. Appreciate your call. Let me go next to Brian in Boston. Brian, try to sneak you in one more in. Go ahead, Brian.
Yep, I just wanted to know real quick, Commissioner, what you are going to do, or your department is going to be doing to protect LGBTQ folks against the far-right radical groups. Think about what's happening at Boston Children's Hospital or Drag Queen Story Hours. I think it's really important that the LGBTQ community is protected, and I don't know what you are doing actively.
Okay, let's see what he says. We have less than a minute here, Commissioner. You'd like to respond to Brian's comment?
Yeah, no, we've actively been involved in all those investigations. As a matter of fact, I think the arrest of some of the persons who were putting threats are involved in both the Boston Police and the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI. So we are actively involved in keeping everyone safe in the city. And we work, particularly our BRIC, has been working with the LGBTQ community, certainly around the business community, around some of these things. And we're trying to do it even more. And so, we'll always do everything we can to protect everyone who lives and works in our city.
All right, Brian, thank you for the question. Commissioner, thank you for your time tonight. It's a wide variety of questions, that is for sure. At some point in the not-too-distant future, we'd love to have you back anytime. And I thank you again for your time.
And just a reminder that folks want to go to bpd.news.com, they can download and see some of the flyers for some of the things that we talked about. So
that's great.
Thank you very much.
Michael Cox, appreciate it very much. Look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
Absolutely. Take care. Thank you.
Commissioner, appreciate it. All right, we get